Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Apologies for the t-shirt. I was going to film this another day and I was like, no, let me film it now. And I was like, oh, I can't bother to try and get the t-shirt past my makeup. So imagine there is a collar. Okay, just a quick disclaimer that a lot of what I say in this video is based on opinion and may or may not be true. It is all based on what's available online. We've been seeing a lot of brands mess up recently, right? About not paying their influencers, bad products, bad ethics, issues. It keeps happening, right? I've done a few videos on them. One of the most recent brands, though, to fall victim to this is Lottie London. So if you haven't heard of Lottie London, they're a UK-based brand, similar to the likes of Revolution, Barry M, W7, MUA Academy. As for now, their website is down, but they were fairly cheap, right? Around £10, drugstore products, makeup targeted at teens, young adults. I really liked Lottie London. I had quite a few of their products. They sent me PR a few times and I really enjoyed their products. And they did seem to start doing some things that seemed like they had like these Vampire Diaries collections, all this kind of stuff that seemed that they were on the up and up. And I was enjoying that for them. But they're a decent brand. The products are really, really nice. They actually do some nice lip glosses as well. A couple of weeks back, a website called BSR, the British Business Report, their platform where you can go and like buy or sell a business, and they do a lot of business related journalism, released an article going over the most recent administrations in the UK. And here's what they announced about Lottie London, right? Lottie London Limited, January the 15th. Lottie London Limited, a vegan cosmetic brand, fell into administration earlier this month, with Jeffrey Rowley and Anthony Wright of FRP Advisory appointed as joint administrators. In accounts for the year to March 31st, 2023, the company's fixed assets were valued at 1.45 million. And current assets at 8.3 million. However, significant debt means that the company's total equity stood at just over £10,000. That's quite the jump. Okay, so just talking like a little bit about equity here and what that means. You work out equity by adding up all of your assets and then taking away the debts. So with Lottie London only having 10K, that means that pretty much all their assets were borrowed, also meaning that they have nearly £9.7 million in debts, right? That is terrifying. This must be terrifying for a brand. I can't remember if Lottie London was an independent brand, but imagine borrowing money and being that much in debt. I would be terrified. I'd be like, I'm never coming out of this. I will be losing sleep. 100%. So just in case you aren't familiar with what going into administration is, it's basically when a company goes insolvent, right? Not able to pay what they owe. Unable to pay their debts. They then go to appoint administrators who work with each other to try and find a way to fix their financials so that they can pay the debts off. During insolvency, they can't be touched by creditors or debt collectors. They could try and fix things by selling the company, selling stock, property they have, etc. But that's really it. So creditors can't come in or debit people and be like, we need to take everything now. They can sell their warehouse, so they can sell all their other stock that they have to try and pay off its debt. But that's it really. I really did think, like I said, that this company, this brand were doing some good things. So it is a bit of a shock to see them being in such a heavy amount of debt and being in this situation. And it does still surprise me when brands are still selling things and doing things and releasing collections and all this while they're in this much debt. It's kind of wild to me. So I am surprised. I didn't see this one coming for a brand like Lottie London. Anyway, more on what Lottie London had been up to prior to all this, right? Let's talk about the lead up to this. So originally, Lottie London, which has been around since 2014, had always sort of just been there, right? With their biggest competitor probably being Ciate London. They were never hugely popular, but did have a few fan favorites like the Stamp and Wing eyeliner duo, the Layla Loves Neon palette, which was great, a really nice palette, and the infamous Rainbow highlighter from 2017. Do you remember that? Some of you are probably gonna remember it now. Where they really blew up though was their release of a freckle tint back in 2020. This was when they really started collaborating with influencers, and TikTok had just hit around 300 million downloads worldwide. So they had just propelled into this gigantic market at the peak of popularity of TikTok. And from that, decided to expand into international markets. So TikTok was a really great platform for them to move product. So in 2021, they decided to move into the US through a partnership with Walmart, where they had these huge displays put up with QR codes to influencers' videos with tutorials and guides on how to use their products. That's a really great idea. I really like that idea. Get some traffic going there. They've seemingly continued though with a really great pattern of success with their launches from then on, with their Gossip Girl collab, their Vampire Diaries collection, and most recently their first fragrance collection, which was with the Netflix series Outer Bank. I've seen it. I don't know what it is. Do I watch that? Okay, now I bet you're thinking though, how can a brand that seemingly had such a great push possibly manage to get into £10 million worth of debt and go into insolvency? Let's use their most recent release, their perfume line, as an example and have a look at it, right? So this is the collaboration.
The Outer Banks. Paradise on Earth. And that's me, John Booker Rutledge. And this is where I live. It's the sort of place where you either have 2 jobs or 2 houses, 2 tribes.
So that was their collaboration with Outer Banks. And this came out in October last year with the Netflix show Outer Banks. If you haven't seen it already, it's basically about a group of teenagers that go treasure hunting, and it got 99 million hours worth of views in its first week. I think I've seen it, or seen a little. Does someone get on a boat at the end? Without spoiling things. Since Lottie London's main consumer base is 16 to 29-year-olds, the collab makes total sense, right? I mean, looking at it, you'll be like, that's a weird thing, but it did make sense for the age market. If we go to Lottie London's company's house profile, this is a thing that we have in the UK with all publicly available information. One of the things that has recently happened is that they have been given an MR01 form. So think of one of these forms as being a sheet of paper that says, hey, these guys have agreed to give us their car if they don't pay off the loan we're giving them. That kind of thing. It's kind of like, they say this, it's an exchange, it's an agreed exchange. You'll notice that this charge is outstanding, meaning that they still owe. And if we read further down, you'll see that the company that Lottie London owes the money to is called Blue Star Global Capital Limited. Now, if you have a look at their company house profile, you'll see that they have a registered address at Imperial Park in Middlesex. Imperial Park. Sounds beautiful. It sounds like somebody would want to eat food. If you then take that address and paste it into Google, a totally different business shows up, a business called Eden's Perfumes. These 2 businesses operate in the exact same unit, which means they're more than likely ran by the same parent company. If you have a look at Eden's website, you see something interesting. So they are basically a brand that creates licensed perfume partnerships, very specific, as well as deal with manufacturing and distribution. You're probably also wondering now how a perfume manufacturer and a loan company would operate together and why that's relevant. Well, with most wholesaler brands, they tend to offer something called trade credit. This is where a brand will get products up front and be able to pay for them later on. It's a pretty common way of operating, right? So putting 2 and 2 together, Lottie London went through Eden, taking out this trade credit using Blue Star on their Outer Banks perfume release and haven't been able to pay for the products. A license is quite expensive if you're licensing something that's quite popular as well, you know? Something else worth mentioning here is that if you historically have bad credit use with trade credit, or if a wholesaler gets word of you, say, owing a lot of money with other manufacturers, they can decide to halt or stop your product and stop giving you this credit entirely. And if this did happen with a supplier that handled everything from manufacturing the product to the distribution of a product, that would mean that 0 product would get out at all, despite you potentially letting customers order it from your site. This kind of brings us onto something major, because not long after that perfume came out, comments and reviews started absolutely flooding Lottie's socials and websites, saying that no one was receiving their order, as well as some people saying that they were given a fake order number. Yeah, so because of being unable to pay Eden, Lottie London were now struck with thousands of customers not getting anything and probably a pretty large bill to pay. Let's just take a look at some of these comments, right? Lottie London screwed me over. I've been using them religiously for the past 6 years. I ordered over a month ago, have been reaching out consistently and have gotten 0 responses. Poor customer service. Someone else says, do not buy from this company, they're just stealing people's money. Where's my order? I placed an order at the beginning of November and have yet to receive it. give us the money. Someone says, waiting for an order since November. And this was about 2 weeks ago. This was placed with January, what are we on? February the 17th as I'm recording this today. Waiting for an order since November, please just refund people. Their website isn't even up anymore. I placed an order 1st of December and still not have gotten my order. That was commented 3 weeks ago. Someone says, honestly, my favorite shade ever. It's a nice little comment in there. I spent over $100 on my Black Friday order. Scam. Ordered in November, no item received, no communication, no replies, and they are still advertising pre-orders. Do not purchase from them. Here's a fragrance specific one. Hello again. I ordered the Outer Banks and Netflix fragrances on November 23rd, and there has not been an update. You guys send me an email that it will come before Christmas, and I have nothing. I'm waiting for a concrete and real response about your product. If not, I would like you to give me a refund as quickly as possible, because that was a Christmas gift that never arrived. Be honest with your customers. This is my order confirmation number and a number. And the rest of them are like, where's my order? Don't buy from this company. Respond to my DMs. If you went under, at least refund people. There are so many negative reviews, negative star reviews, poor reviews. We can't do negative star, you know what I mean. I do think this has completely ruined them. These comments will just completely ruin them. How you deal with this, we've said this before, how you deal with complaints, how you deal with issues is so telling of the brand. Just be real. Straight up, listen, we fucked up. Actually, we owe money. You may not get your orders. We are going to work as hard as we can to get this money back to you. If they are, probably not, because they probably use it to pay off their debts. Sorry, but for now, just hold your horses. You know what I mean? Keep hold of your order numbers. It's just very telling of a brand. I can understand this must be really scary for the brand, but there is nothing worse. The worst thing you can do as a brand is take people's money and not give them a product. I mean, of course you want to make money because you're a business, but come on. Come on. So we've kind of established the fact that, you know, Lottie's business model was based on taking credit out for a product, releasing it, and then repaying their wholesalers with the profits. We know that for some reason they had ended up snowballing into not being able to pay anyone back for anything. It was reported that they only had around 10k in their bank when they went bust, remember? But why would that be? Could it be that things just weren't selling in the first place? Could it be that they were like, we're onto something good, our brand is getting bigger and bigger worldwide, let's invest more, and you know, we'll make it back, it'll be fine, we'll sell out of this, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. We don't have access to any kind of sales record, right? But what we can use as an indicator is when Lottie London have put their collections on sale on their website. When a brand can't shift something, they put it on sale, right? So in 2020, when they first gained a lot of popularity, the maximum discount they offered was 20% with codes like Boss Babes, Welcome 10, and Blue Babe. These are all found on Facebook discount pages. So in 2022, the biggest discount you could get was 25% with codes like Flash25. So in 2023 and 2024, they brought out like a flat out 30% site-wide discount. You didn't need a discount code for this, and it offered up to 70% off their mystery boxes. That's a lot. Late 2024, the last sale they ever did was a huge 50% off everything. This would have included mystery boxes, right? And this directly correlates with when they started shifting into trends and specific collaborations and focusing on TikTok instead of developing products themselves. Could it have been that they lost so much money on these collabs? I bet it was a Vampire Diaries. It was either the Vampire Diaries one or that Netflix one, that they had no choice but to continue to try and stick with hyper popular trends to try and get their money back. If this was the case, it would make sense that they have just snowballed over the span of 3 years to the point of no return. They could not come back from all this debt. As I said, licenses is expensive. Vampire Diaries, the Outer Banks, come on. In terms of brands kind of jumping on trends, when they're new and when they're not established and they don't have their like a hero product yet, a product that everyone goes to that brand for, I don't think it's worth jumping on the trend bandwagon. You need to establish a product that is this is our hero product. This is why everyone loves us. They come to us for our setting spray. They come to us for our setting powder. They come to us for our highlighters because they're just so great. Lottie London don't have that product. They don't have that. So no one can be like, wow, I love their other thing must be really good. You know what I mean? Bad move for a new brand. So what's happening now? Basically, given the fact that the website doesn't exist, no one has been able to get into contact with their customer service, they're in maybe too much debt for Estee Lauder to consider buying them. You can find their products on mass wholesale websites. I don't think Lottie London is coming back. That's a lot of debt. And a lot of their products aren't, let's be real, aren't worth that amount. I'm hoping everyone who has spent money with them ends up getting some kind of apology, some kind of refund, please, would be better than an apology. But this has gone way too deep, way too far. A lot of people asked me about this and was sending me messages about it. They haven't had their orders. And it's a brand that they have used. And I think it's a brand I spoke about once as well. So here I am speaking about them again. You can't get on their website, which is great. I don't know if they are on TikTok shop still. Don't do it. If you enjoyed this video, please keep your eyes peeled because I've seen comments about the brand Give. Just a little hint, Gwen Stefani's brand coming up. Let me know if you've been affected by this. Have you heard anything new on the Lottie London situation? I'll try and get a statement from them. We do follow each other on social media, but the last time someone was active on there was the 15th, or 13th of January. So that was their last post. If I get a statement from them, I'll put them in here. If not, you know that it went unread. Anyway, thank you again for joining me. Consider subscribing. You can subscribe to my commentary channel, my reaction channel here for videos that aren't necessarily beauty based. And I also have a beauty blog, the Brushed Up beauty blog, which you can follow. I'll leave a link down below in the description box for you. Subscribe over there. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you soon.